maybe a little idea why you got connected to me. We've heard Mark, and he's explained, his connection with you. So if you would, give us a little introduction. I'm going to put you solo while you do this. We'll still be able to talk and hear you, but I'm going to put you solo while you introduce yourself, okay?
All right. Thank you. Well, I'm 47 years old. I'm from a small little town up in northern New Mexico called Penasco. It's up in Taos County by Taos. I've been in Albuquerque now about 20 some years. I was diagnosed in 2010 with type 2 diabetes, and shortly after they told me you have type 2 diabetes, the next sentence out of her mouth was, you also have kidney disease. I really don't feel like they gave me a lot of information on it at the time. It was kind of just, here's your diagnosis, and left it to me to figure out what I wanted to do from there, or to find the right doctors or that type of stuff. I was very surprised to hear that I had diabetes and kidney disease, because I've lost both of my parents by the time I was 15. I lost my dad when I was 4 and my mom when I was 15. My mom died of stomach cancer, and cancer is what runs on my maternal side of the family.
Okay.
Because I was so young when my father passed away, I was really not in contact with any of my dad's side of the family. I did not know any type of family history, anything like that. So I had no idea for years and years where diabetes and kidney disease came from. I assumed I had brought this all upon myself by leading an unhealthy lifestyle of just, fast food restaurants. You work, you're rushing home to make dinner, you're too tired to make dinner. Oh, let's pick up McDonald's, let's order pizza. So I assumed that all of this had been brought on to myself. A couple years ago, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, through Facebook, started getting in contact with some of my dad's side of my family, and was invited to a birthday party turned family reunion. I believe it was September of 2018. At that point is where I found out that that's where my kidney disease came from. On my dad's side of the family, there is a lot of diabetes.
Okay.
Some family members that were on dialysis that have passed away from kidney failure. Just a lot that I was not aware of at all. I had no idea that that's where the kidney disease came from. Probably had I known this sooner in life, I probably would have taken better care of myself.
Right.
Just knowing that was out there. So I tell my kids constantly, every time I talk to them, you guys are in your 20s now. You need to take better care of yourself. You don't know what the future holds. It's in your bloodstream. It's there. It's hereditary. It could happen to you at any time. And if you would have told me when I was in my 20s that by the time I was 40 years old, I was going to be in kidney failure, I would have never believed it.
Right.
I have done a lot to turn my lifestyle around. Again, at the very beginning, when I got diagnosed, I didn't take it as seriously as I should have. I felt like I kind of didn't believe it. I guess you could say I was in denial.
Okay.
As it got worse, January 2019, I was walking with a cane.
Wow.
I couldn't walk 5 minutes on the treadmill. I could barely walk from one room to the other. There was days that I didn't feel like getting out of bed, so I wouldn't get out of bed. To this day, I still have days where I don't feel like getting out of bed, but I make myself get out of bed. And I push through it now. Versus back then, I would just roll over and be like, I don't feel good. I'm not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
everything was getting worse and worse. And my doctors were telling me, you're going to end up on dialysis. You're going to have to start dialysis soon. 2018, my granddaughter was born.
Okay.
And as I started watching her grow and just get bigger and become more active, it kind of opened my eyes and made me realize that I really want to be there for this little girl. I want to see her grow up. I want to see her go to school. I want to see her graduate, get married. I want to be a great grandmother someday.
Amen.
You know, more closely, I want to be able to run around at the park with her and play and push her on the swings. And at the rate that I was going, that wasn't going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of just turned everything around and have been doing a lot better. I still struggle. It's still a day-to-day struggle. But like I said, I push through it now versus not pushing through it. I've lost about 70 pounds.
Wow.
My diabetes is completely under control now. I haven't been on any type of insulin, medication, anything since September of last year. I have some personal trainers. I go to a boot camp, Cedar Fit boot camp, and her and her trainer team have been amazing. Amazing. I mean, they know my medical condition, and they know that I can't do things like the normal healthy person can. So they adjust it to what I can do. So that helps me in the aspect where I can go work out with a group of people because they tailor it to my needs. So Cedar has just been amazing. Now during pandemic, I get my workouts emailed to me, and I do them in the comfort of my own home, at my own pace and at my own level. And then I also try to walk between 3 to 4 miles a day versus just a year and a half ago, I couldn't even walk 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
My kidney function.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
My kidney function June of last year was at 6%. And 6 weeks ago, or not 6 weeks ago, I'm sorry, I see my nephrologist every 6 weeks, but probably 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. My last kidney function, was 14% or 15%. I'm sorry, was 15%. So I went from 6% to 15% in a year.
Wow.
And
that's quite a turnaround.
Yeah, it's been a huge turnaround, and my doctors have all been very supportive. They've all been great. They all work as a team and communicate together as far as what's best for me and what I need.
Yeah.
It's keeping me off dialysis. Unfortunately, I'm still going to need a transplant, but it's keeping me off dialysis. Which I'm very, very happy about because I was not looking forward to dialysis.
You know, you mentioned something, and I want to touch on that. Man, I think that many people can relate is that when something happens in your life that's like kidney disease, you know, many people find something that drives them. And it almost sounds as though that turning point for you was your granddaughter.
Yes.
And yeah, and when she was born and she started to almost like put a spark in your life, you know, and I could see you kind of light up when you were talking about her, you know, and that part of your background. And
she's my world. She's my light. I live for that little girl right now. And I feel bad when I say stuff like that because I have my kids that are my world and I love them. But as a grandparent, it's just such a different kind of love.
Right.
And there's not anything I wouldn't do for that little girl.
Yeah. That's
Sounds
awesome.
like you're doing it.
Exactly.
Sounds like you're doing it for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
That's awesome.
I'm trying. But I would have never, I mean, cancer runs in my mom's side of the family, and I would have never in a million years thought kidney disease is what I would have been sick with.
Well, you know, it Man, what I'm hearing, a couple of things just still amaze me is the weight loss, number one, is amazing to me. Um, how did you do that? What did you do with your diet or exercise? What did you do to lose the weight?
Well, I started treadmill basically is just I would walk. I couldn't walk for maybe 5 minutes, but I would still go back the next day and do 5 minutes again, and 5 minutes again, and 5 minutes again until it was 6 minutes, then 8 minutes, then 10 minutes, and just slowly worked my way up. Now I'm able to jog and run for a little while.
Okay.
I don't eat red meat very often because I have a really hard time digesting red meat. It's a lot of chicken, a lot of turkey, fish,
Okay.
and vegetables.
Yeah.
Fresh fruits and vegetables.
Nice.
I have my best friend. She's been my best friend for over 20 years. She goes to Cedar Fit, and she's the one that kept telling me, you need to join Cedar Fit. We need to get you in there. And I'm like,
Is that where your boot camp is, Lucy?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, I
All
can't.
right.
And I kept thinking, I can't do any of that. You're crazy,
Yeah.
girl. I can barely walk on the treadmill.
Mark, as
I'm
an
doing
athlete,
it.
Mark, as an athlete, what do you think about this? What she's doing?
I think it's pretty amazing because I was in a similar situation, and when I first went to respiratory therapy after I got diagnosed, and they did a surgical biopsy, then they sent me to respiratory therapy. But I could totally relate with her. I was only able to do 3 minutes on the treadmill, 3 minutes on a bike, and 3 minutes on one of those steppers that you sit in.
Okay.
It took me longer to get from my truck to the gym than it did for me to do the workout.
Okay.
And I was so defeated, but
Yeah.
I just admire what she's doing because
Right.
you get very down on yourself when you're that low and you have to build up. So it takes a huge amount of courage and a huge amount of belief in yourself
Yes.
that
Yes.
you can do it. So, man, hats off to you, Lucy.
Well, thank you.
I'm just admiring you right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard. I mean, there's times where I don't want to work out. I'll be the first to admit it.
Right.
And then there's times that I do. And if I don't, my family can always tell when I didn't. They're like, you didn't work out today, did you? You're such a grump.
So it's your demeanor that they can tell that you didn't work out, or what?
Yeah.
And you got to find reasons too.
Exactly.
You got to find reasons to pump yourself up. When I was bedridden with the blood clot, there was a period of like 10:30 at night to 11 o'clock where I would actually feel okay. So I would do these little exercises in the bed, trying to strengthen my abdominal muscles because they're about to rip all that up. And so I would tell myself, like, come on, dude, you don't want to show up to the morgue with a beer belly. You better get it together. Or, just playing tricks with myself, with my mind, tricking my body into doing stuff. Like, or I would pat myself on the back and say, like, you're going to be the only dude in the morgue with the six-pack, bro. Keep working hard. So it's all like, a lot of it is what you tell yourself.
Right.
And
it is, yeah.
Tell yourself that you'd rather fight than give up. And that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. And you're right. It is all what we tell ourselves, and it's all what we put into our head. Because if we believe that we can't do it, then we don't think we can. So we don't even try.
Yeah.
But if
the thought becomes the word, becomes the
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. So you got, is it Delilah Medina here saying, love you, auntie, cousin, you got this, man. It's
Delian
awesome.
Medina.
All right, very nice, man. That's awesome.
She is actually the very first person that got tested to try to be a donor for me.
All right, very nice.
And she is a relative on my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
Who I met through video chat in April of 2018, and by July of 2018, I hadn't even met her in person yet. She was already trying to get tested to be a match.
Oh, that's so cool. Very
So
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because she's on my dad's side of the
Yeah.
family, and because of the kidney failure and the diabetes,
The
they didn't allow
cancer.
her to. But yeah,
Okay.
but
Well,
we're very close, and I love her to death, and I love her for trying. And Rick, that is
yeah.
another relative
All
on
right.
my dad's side of the family. The three of us are very close.
Nice. I love the elephant in his profile pic. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for watching, Rick. Thanks for supporting Lucy. And my twin brother Jeff's chiming in here, guys. He's saying next time I'm in El Paso, I'm driving up to Albuquerque and Santa Fe. So
You're
hold
always
him to
welcome,
that.
Jeff.
Hold him to that. Okay, he owns a home
I
in El
got a good
Paso.
place for us to go eat.
Nice. All right. All right. So yeah, I got sidetracked because I saw some really cool comments, but again, it's very inspiring in regards to your boot camp, your fitness and your diet. I've been on a low carb diet and I've lost like 30 pounds, but to lose like 70 pounds, to me,
Okay, well, I've gained back what I call my COVID-15.
all right, okay.
And
All
then
right,
I
all
lost
right.
another, and then I lost another 6 of it. And then I did the N body with my nutritionist, and
Uh-huh.
because I was super stressed out about the weight gain that I gained back.
Oh,
And
okay.
she said part of it was muscle and part of it was water weight, so that made me feel better.
Uh-huh.
They told me don't always worry about the number on the scale. That's
All
not
right, all
always
right.
the big picture.
That's good advice. That's good advice.
Especially if you're exercising a lot and you're working out, you're gaining
Yeah.
muscle. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Good advice. Good advice. We can all take that advice.
For sure.
Because kind of like what we just talked about, guys, we just discussed this, is sometimes, okay, our own belief will prevent us from moving forward, right? So if I look on the scale and I see Mr. Fatty Pants, in my own mind, it's going to be hard for me to move forward and lose more weight when I think I'm just boom, boom, hey, hey, hey,
Oh
one of those guys.
no.
But you're right.
There's the other side of that too. Well, I remember getting on the scale and it said 120 pounds. And I used humor to get to a lot of stuff. And I look in the mirror and say, come on, dude, Halloween's over. Put that skeleton costume away, man. And that's a lot of it.
It works.
You have to find
Yeah,
humor
you do.
You have to find the humor in it.
You're right.
And I mean, laughter is great medicine.
It really is. Medicine. It is, yes. It is. And anything that you can use to find some positivity, helps when you're going through a struggle. So, laughter is a great one. And then, a granddaughter is another great one, Lucy. I love that. My stepdaughter has a daughter, and even though biologically she's not my granddaughter, she is my granddaughter. And Avery is her name, and she comes over and she just lights up our house when she comes over. And yeah, I mean my wife is just like you, Lucy, where it's like the best thing for her that she has a granddaughter. It's the only one she has.
It's
nonetheless,
amazing.
Yeah.
And well, the same thing with us. I mean, my kids are not biologically Jean's kids. I was married before.
Yeah.
But that little girl, let me tell you, she calls him Banca. And Banca is her world. There's times where nobody exists other than Banca. But then there's times where nobody exists other than Grandma, too. So
all right.
She goes through her little favorites.
I have some grandkids too, and they're a real big part of my fight. When I first got sick, actually, my daughter was 14, and my daughter Marty she's just a trooper, and she was like my main reason for fighting for more time. And then I was able to be blessed with more time and be able to see her graduate high school, get married, have a child. She's working in the professional sector now, and it's just amazing what organ donation can do as far as extra time and
Yes.
yeah, it's hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's very difficult.
Yes.
And but it's so rewarding. And like I was telling you earlier, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because I see things all differently now, and I appreciate things that I used to take for granted.
Okay.
Even looking at a tree. I remember I woke up and I looked out of my hospital window and there was a tree, and I never saw a tree so beautiful. And it was just a tree, but to me,
But
it
you
was like,
saw it with a different lens, huh?
yeah, I was looking at pretty much that death. And
Right.
then when I wake up, I see this tree, and it was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
And there's so many gifts that are wrapped up in the gift of life.
Mm-hmm.
And, every day's a gift, but, people you come across, people you meet because you got sick. I mean, I've met so many great people because I got sick. And had I not got sick, they wouldn't be part of my life.
Wouldn't have crossed
A lot of
paths.
these
Yeah.
people are very influential in my life and very important. So there's the gifts, there's so many gifts wrapped up in that initial gift of life, and it's amazing.
Yeah. It is, and Steve Belcher's watching, registered nurse, and he's at the forefront of the Urban Health Outreach Media Network and Urban Kidney Alliance. So one of my mentors and a good friend of mine, my brother, thanks for watching, Steve. He says he needed to hear this tonight, needed to see this. And, it helps people, okay, when they hear things like this. And Lucy, you may not know this, but this is going to get watched. This is going to get viewed over 1,000 times. Okay. And what may happen, okay, and God, through God's grace, okay, we're hoping and I'm praying that someone feels compassionate enough that they want to donate to you, because they understand how difficult this journey is for you. And when you talk about, when in the very beginning, when you tell what I call your origin story, right? Hey, when people listen to this and they hear you, it's going to inspire people. It's going to inspire people. And okay, and I want people to be inspired, because not only will it help them through their current journey, but if they feel inspired, then God willing, I want them to donate. And that can happen.
That would be amazing, and that would be great. And I mean, just to kind of throw back in there, another one of the reasons that was a big, I guess you could say, motivator to try to get healthy and to lose weight. And I mean, I was on probably 10 to 12 different medications. I'm now down to 3.
Wow.
3 medications is what I'm down to. But one of the another motivator was that, how can I, to myself, I say, how can I ask someone to donate an organ to me when I'm not willing to do the work and prove that I'm committed to my health and that I'm going to take care of a new organ?
Right.
I really felt like I needed to prove myself and prove that I'm committed to my health and I'm committed to staying healthy, and that if someone does feel touched to give me an organ, that I'm gonna take care of it.
Just simultaneously, when you said the word touched, I just put up this comment. I was touched by you, Lucy. It was like the exact same time. How perfect is that? It's like the exact same time I'm clicking the button.
I noticed that. I noticed that it popped up right as I said that. But.
Yeah. So very, very fitting. But yeah, I love that. Because faith works that way. Okay. Anybody who has faith and you're a believer, and we know that faith works with action, because if you don't, I want people to pray, and I hope, and I encourage everybody to pray for Lucy. But what I'd like to do more than just pray. Okay. I'd like us to put forth some action. Everybody knows from Sunday school to anything that you've ever read in the Bible that the people, Okay, the saints, all right, that not only prayed, but they put forth action, were many times blessed because they did something. They put forth action, and they did something. And so don't be stingy. Please share, okay? If you can't
Share your
donate,
spare.
share.
Well, as far as you guys talking about faith, it's, I was getting my medical evaluation, and I was in a hallway of a crowded hospital, and I was waiting for my dad, and you know, I was sick, and I was very nervous, and so I was kind of looking around for him, and then I turned around, this woman was standing right there, and she
Wow.
asked me, "Do you have cancer? Young man, can I ask you if you have cancer?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I don't have cancer. I have silicosis fibrosis, and I need a transplant."
Right.
And she said,
Wow.
"Well, can I pray for you?" And so we stood there, her, my mom, and myself. Her, my mom, and myself stood there and prayed in this busy hallway. And then she said, "Do you have a Bible?" And I said, "Yeah." She says, "Okay, well, I want you to go to your namesake, go to the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 22 through 26.
Amen. Amen.
And read that in the morning and at night." And it talks about having faith.
Yes.
Have faith to allow a mountain to fall into the sea, and whatever it is you're asking for in prayer, believe that it's already come to you, and then it will. And then it talks about forgiveness, about forgiving others, or you can't be forgiven. But I still read that. I got chills just talking about it.
Me too. Me too. I love that.
Because if you don't believe that something can happen, or if you don't believe in yourself, you're not opening that door for the possibility of it becoming a reality. And the most important thing in anything you face is believing in yourself. If you can believe in yourself that you can face this task or this challenge, you've already won more than half the battle. The actual physical act of it is really the easy part. Believing that you could do something is the hard part, because, I mean, you look at I can and I can't. On paper, it's a difference between a little mark and a letter. Yeah. But if you apply it to life, it's like night and day. And if you say I can't in your head, you think it, and then it sends the signal, and you speak it, and you give it life into the universe to become a reality. Well, what other choice does your body have but to follow that? The body's always going to follow the mind.
Amen.
And so believing in yourself that you can even just face the battle that it takes to get on the list or to get to the transplant is key. And so you have to look at yourself. What I admire about you, Lucy, is that you didn't wait for a transplant for your second chance to start. You know, once you got to a certain point, you said, "No, I'm changing, and my second chance starts now. I'm not going to wait till there's a transplant, because what if it doesn't come, and then you have all that time that you wasted waiting?" So I really admire that you've gotten after it, and you really hit it like a warrior, and you're not waiting for your second chance. You made your second chance start up, because that's where you made the commitment. And I just
thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. The whole getting onto the list was quite a process.
It's a chore, huh?
It was a big chore. And then even after getting on the list, I kind of waited for a while, and I'm like, okay, is the call going to come? Is it going to happen? And then I'm like, when people that had known me, when have I ever waited for something to happen?
I love it.
I mean, something I want to tell you is words are very powerful. Like you just said, is the call going to come? If you rearrange those words a little bit, it means something totally different. The call is going to come. Yeah. And words are very powerful. And right now that your body's having a hard time, you have to be very conscious of that. And it's easy. You just switch a couple words around, and it changes the whole energy of your statement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The hardest part is the waiting game.
It is.
That's the hardest part. And I've never been a patient person, but I've learned that I have to be. you know, with